In this video, I'll go over different browsers that I have tested in the last few days. I'm still looking for a browser that does all the things that I need. I also created a tier list that you're able to see here on the right hand side. This is just going to be for the browsers that I'm going to be testing. Notice that it's these 5 browsers. So I'm just going to be organizing them in this list. I'm a simple man. I don't need too much. Here are the requirements that I look for on each browser. Let's start with Zen. The first question that I have here is why vertical tabs? So just let me mark this as done, and I'm going to explain that in Neovim. On the left hand side, you can see my terminal. If I open up the different sessions that I have open in CMOX here, you're going to notice that I have 3 sessions at the moment. But let's say that I open new sessions. So far, I only have my blog post and my dotfiles. But let's say that I also want to open my notes. And let's say that I also want to open my home session. Let's say that I want to SSH to one of my devices. I just type a key map and I'm in that device. Let me also go to my daily note. I press another key map and it takes me right there. As you're going to notice, each one of these is a session. And I'm used to navigating sessions in a vertical way. So I can just see all my sessions here, go to one of them. I don't usually do this because I switch between sessions using key maps. If I want to go to my dotfiles, I just type this key map and I'm there. Notice that I'm inside Neovim here. And let's see which buffers I have open, or tabs we could say I have open. So I'm just going to bring this up. Notice that I have 4 different files open at the moment. And I navigate through the files as well vertically. Notice that in Neovim as well, I don't have tabs at the top. I find them very distracting. So I need the same in my browser. Let me switch to Zen real quick. And as you're able to tell, I do have vertical tabs here. I can switch between the tabs. So that is the first requirement, and Zen does that. So I'm just going to mark this here. Next, I need to be able to hide the sidebar with a key map. So let me switch to Zen. I'm going to type here Control E and notice that it automatically hid the sidebar. It basically toggles it. So I'm just going to type it again, shows it, hides it, and that's something that I need to have at all times. So I'm going to mark this as done as well. I also need to be able to copy the URL easily. So if I go back to Zen here, I'm going to do Alt-C. Notice that that copied the URL to the clipboard. Let me open my clipboard and we're going to be able to see the link there. So I'm going to mark this as well because it works great. The next item here is PWAs. What is that? Let me type another key map here. Just going to type -AY. You're going to notice that it automatically switched me to YouTube. So it's basically just a website that is installed as an application. The operating system thinks it's an application, so it allows you to switch to it, in my case, with keyboard shortcuts. Notice that I'm in Finder here. I have this Brave browser app. I installed this one through Brave. And here in the Chrome apps section, I have this WhatsApp, Google Photos, DeepSeek. So I find this really useful. Why? Mainly because I switch between the apps using keyboard shortcuts. That's it. What is the problem that I have with Zen? Let me go back to YouTube real quick. And let me open one of my videos. I'm just going to open this one, just to give you an example, right? Now I'm going to scroll down in this video. And what happens if I try to open one of these links? Let's see. I would expect for this link to be open in Zen. I'm going to open one of the links here. Just going to type here SJ, the letter M, and notice what happened. It opened the link in Brave. And Brave is not my main browser. It is Zen. So what's the problem? Since I created this web app with Brave, every time that I click on the link, it's going to open it with Brave. And I don't want that. Every time that I open a link here, I would like it to open on my main browser. But since Zen does not have progressive web apps yet, I cannot create these apps with Zen. So every time that this happens, any link that I open in one of these apps, it opens in the browser in which it was created. I know that there are tools like openin that allow you to specify rules that tell which links or which domains to open on which applications. But this does not work even using openin. If you want to learn more about openin and all the different apps that I use as of 2025, I have this video, released it a few days ago. Go and check it out. All right, so that's a major drawback, at least for me, when using Zen. So I'm not going to mark this. Let's move on to the next item. Duplicate tabs. Let me switch to Zen real quick. If I want to duplicate one of these tabs, which I do a lot, I cannot in Zen. So what do I have to do? I have to grab my mouse. I have to come here, right-click on the tab, and then I can click on Duplicate Tab. And this does not make any sense. I want to be able to do it with my keyboard. Most browsers don't have this feature enabled, but at least they have a tab here at the top of the screen with an option that says duplicate tab, so you can configure the keyboard shortcut through macOS. This is not possible in Zen because the option does not exist on any of these menus. So I'm not going to mark this either. And let's see where we put Zen browser here on the list. Just keep in mind that I'm going to be organizing the browsers here based on whether they cover my specific needs. I don't care too much about other features in browsers. These are the ones that I need. So I'm just going to be basing my list off of that. Given that I don't have 2 of the features that I need, but they are not like super critical for me, I'm not going to put this on the S tier. I'm going to put it on the A tier. I'm not sure if that's where I'm going to leave it, but let's put it there for now. Let's move on to the next browser then, which would be Brave. All right, so the first item is vertical tabs. It does have that option, so I'm just going to mark this. Does it allow me to hide the sidebar with a key map? Let's give it a try, Control E. And it does allow me to hide that. Works quite well. I don't care that it remains there in that small vertical bar, this that is shown here, but I would definitely rather not have it there at all. But I mean, I'm okay with that. If I switch back to Zen, you're going to notice that when I hide this, it completely goes away. So it's not there at all. Let me bring it back up. Notice that it shows, and if I hide it, completely goes away. So it would be perfect. It would be like this, but I'm willing to live with that. I'm going to mark this then because it does work. Copy the URL. Let's give that a try. Just going to do here Alt-C. Let me bring up my clipboard and notice that it did copy it to the clipboard. Let me open another tab so we can just confirm that it actually works. Okay, so this is the other tab. I'm just going to press Alt-C here. Let's bring up the clipboard and notice that it shows up there. So it means we're good. All right, so I'm just going to mark that here as well. PWAs, I installed this one through Brave. Works great. So I can mark that as done as well because it works just fine. Does it allow me to duplicate tabs? Let's give it a try. I'm going to type here Control D and it does. That's exactly what I want. Let's try this one, Control D, duplicated the tab for me. So it's working wonderfully. I do like that a lot. Let me mark that as done here as well. All right, so it seems that this is perfect and I thought it was. And I was really excited. I said, I found the perfect browser. But then I switched to my terminal. Look at this. I'm gonna go to Ghostly right now and notice what I see behind my terminal. I see the sidebar there. Notice that you can see that here. And it shouldn't be there because the entire Brave application is transparent except for this specific section. So you may be wondering, all right, let's just hide the sidebar. Let's go back to the terminal and still I see that section there. And I cannot use my terminal like this. I spend all of the day in the terminal and it would feel really distracting having this section there all the time. Could probably live with it, but I just don't want to. So I'm just going to uncheck this section here, hide sidebar key map, because it does hide it, but not the way that it should. In case you're wondering, how did I make my terminal transparent and the rest of the apps not transparent? I have a video in which I go over Yapai in detail. This is my window manager, so go and check it out. You can specify which apps you want to be transparent, like Spotify, the browser, which is really distracting, or whatever you want. I just got used to having the terminal transparent already, and I just cannot have it with a solid background. So where am I going to position Brave then? Let's move it out of here. I cannot put it here. I would have put it here, and I wouldn't be making this video if it wasn't because of that small issue. So I'm just going to put it here as well, next to Zen. Let's move on to the next browser. Let's see what else we have here. Chrome. It doesn't even have a single word that I can search for that is called vertical. Let's try to search for something else. Let's try to search for tabs. And I don't see any related settings to vertical tabs. Let me just scroll down. And yep, I don't see anything available in Chrome. So if this requirement is not met for me, I don't care about the rest. I do understand that there are plugins. Let's search here in a new tab. Chrome vertical tabs. And if I open this link on the web store or whatever that store is, it's going to open this plugin. This is just a basic feature that every browser should have as of 2025. And for security reasons, I don't want to rely on a plugin for this. And even if I did, if I install this, you cannot disable the horizontal tabs. So you would have both the vertical and horizontal tabs. So no thanks. So I cannot mark this as done. Sidebar, that's not even relevant because the first one is not met. You cannot copy a URL in Chrome with a shortcut. you have to select the URL first and then copy it. And that doesn't make sense for me at all. PWAs, that works fine. I have installed PWAs from Chrome. Those are actually the ones that I use. And duplicate tab works fine as well. Not through the browser itself, but I do this through macOS. Let me show you what I was talking about. If I go here to Chrome and I go to the top under tab, you're going to notice that this duplicate tab item is available. It does not include a key map by default, but you can configure it. Let me go to macOS system settings and I'm going to show you where that is done. Notice that under all applications here, I have two shortcuts. One of them called duplicate tab. It has to match the exact name that you have on the menu, and I specify the shortcut. And I also created another one just called duplicate because I think it's for another browser. But this is how you do that in macOS. So if I come to my list, I can mark this and I can also mark this one. Where do I personally put Chrome? Because it doesn't have all of the other features that I need and that are essential for me. I would put it here on the C tier. It doesn't even deserve to be on the B tier. So I would put it here in C. I cannot put it in D because I have D reserved for a special browser. We're going to see that in a minute. All right, let's move on to the next browser then, Safari. I had to be fair. I had to give everyone a chance. So let's open up Safari then. Let's see what we find there. All right, so notice that I don't see the tabs at the top. Let me just click on this button right here and I see two tabs. If I expand that section, I can see kind of vertical tabs. But how can I hide this again? I have to click on this button. Let's see if we can hide the sidebar with the key map. Let me go to the settings real quick. And I searched. I didn't find any. So if you do find it, let me know. Let me search in the top menu. Maybe there is something there. Okay, so it's not on file. On edit, I don't see anything that shows or hides the sidebar. View, I do see favorite bar and status bar and sidebar. Okay, let's give this a try. Show sidebar. Okay, now here. All right, so that seems to work just fine. So what is it then? View, show sidebar, Shift Command L. Let me give it a try. Shift Command L. All right, so that seems to work fine. But why are the tabs collapsed like that? Why cannot I see them? I can switch between the tabs, and that is great. But the purpose of having vertical tabs is to be able to see them and switch between them. If you know about a setting that allows me to expand these by default and not have this section there, I would highly appreciate that. Is it a group setting or something? New tab group with two tabs. Can I take them out of the group? Can I just put them somewhere else? I can't? I don't know, man. This is confusing. So if you know how to do this, just let me know. Let's see if we can change this key map. Hide sidebar. Notice that it's Shift Command L. So I'm just going to go to macOS system settings. Here, I'm just going to add a shortcut. I'm just going to add it for Safari. So notice that I'm selecting here Safari. What was the name of the menu? Let's see again. View, hide sidebar. The problem is that it changes. All right, let's see. So I'm just going to type here hide sidebar because it has to match what is shown on that menu. And the keyboard shortcut that I want to use is Control E. I'm just going to click here on done. So notice that it's configured for Safari, hide sidebar. Let's give it a try. I'm going to switch here, Control E, and notice that it did hide it. So that works great. If we go to the menu on the top, you're going to notice view. Now it changed to show sidebar. I don't know if this is going to work, but let's add it in system settings. Notice that I have hide sidebar there. I'm just going to add another one. Just going to select Safari here. I'm just going to name it show sidebar. Going to use the same one, Control E. And I click here on done. And let's see if it works. Let me switch back to Safari. Control E. It shows it and it hides it. All right, so it's a hack basically that we ran. Works fine. So, I mean, that's good. That works fine. So vertical tabs, I cannot mark this. That doesn't work. But I can hide the sidebar with the key map. So I'm just going to mark this. Copy the URL. Let's see if that's possible. I'm just going to go to the menu on the top. Maybe I can find something about copy URL or something. I don't see it under file. I also don't see it under edit. I don't see it here either. History has nothing, of course. Bookmarks, nothing. Window. I don't see an option to copy the URL with a key map. I do see this duplicate tab option, which I already mapped with the other key map that I showed you. That works fine. If you know if this is possible, just let me know. But for now, I'm just not going to mark this. PWAs, that do work fine. I have installed a few. No complaints there. Duplicate tab works too as well. So I'm just going to mark this as done. There must be a way to ungroup these tabs, but I'm not sure. Could be a skill issue on my side, but I don't know how. Let me go to the settings real quick. Automatically close tabs, navigation. I don't see something related to groups. Maybe under advanced? No, I don't see it. So if you know where that could be, please let me know. Because if that works, man, I could probably switch to Safari. Well, I cannot copy the URL with the key map, so that would be a bummer too. All right, so where am I going to put then Safari? Let's see, let's go back here. I'm just gonna remove this from here. I was planning on putting Safari in the D tier list, but given the fact that it at least allows me to show and hide the sidebar, which is essential for me, I'm going to put it here next to Chrome. If you know how to ungroup those tabs, please let me know because I'm highly interested. I never thought I'd say this, but let's give Edge a try. All right, so the first thing that we can notice is that I do see vertical tabs there. Let me go to this site. Let me open another page here. Let's open this in a new tab. Notice that it works well. I can switch between the tabs here. Let me open another one, this GD, H. Notice that I have 3 tabs. That works quite well, to be honest. So vertical tabs, they have a point here. Just gonna mark this. Hide the sidebar with a key map. I don't know if this is possible or not. Let's go to the settings and find out. I just search here for sidebar and I'll scroll down through the different settings. I don't see any setting here. Let's keep scrolling down a little bit more. There is a sidebar, but it's another one that is shown on the right hand side. So notice what's going to happen if I enable this show sidebar button. It's going to show here, this one. I don't give a crap about this one. I don't need that sidebar. I'm just going to disable it. What I want to do is to be able to hide this one with a key map. Let's see if there's a menu on the top. Collapse pane. All right, so that seems to work fine. How do I make it go back here? Oh, if I hover over it, it shows. I don't want that. I just want to toggle it, basically. But maybe there is something at the top. Let's see. I don't see an option here. Under a tab, notice that I have the duplicate tab option, so that's great. Under view, I don't see anything here either. This is where it should be, I think. Edit, I don't see anything in here either. File, I don't see it there as well. And on the Edge menu, nothing too. So it seems that I cannot hide the sidebar with the key map. Does it allow me to copy a URL with a keyboard shortcut? Let's give that a try. I'm going to look here through the different settings, and I don't see an option there. URL copy and paste format default. Let me scroll up again. I don't see a shortcut or something like that that would make this possible. Learn about keyboard shortcuts in Microsoft. So let me open that link and see if I can find something there. I'm just going to click on the Mac version because that's what I'm using. And I'm just going to search here for URL. Select the URL in the address bar. That is what we all know, and it's completely useless. Is there one to copy? No, there is no copy URL key map. So that sucks. That really sucks. I cannot hide the sidebar. I cannot copy the URL. PWAs work fine, I think. There's no problem there. And we also notice that there's the option to duplicate the tabs. So if I come here to the browser again, Control D, notice that it did duplicate it. So that is fine. That works fine. Just gonna mark this. I'm also going to mark this. I haven't tried them, but if these two don't work, I don't really care about the rest. So where do I put Edge then? Let's go back to the list here. Should I put it in the D or should I put it in the C section? It's definitely not B. I'm sure about that. Just for being Microsoft, I'm going to put it in the D section. No, I'm going to be fair and unbiased. I think I'm going to leave it here in the C section. So what am I going to be using then? I think I'm going to stick to Zen for now. Even if the links that I open in YouTube open in a different browser, I hate that, but Zen overall works fine for the rest of the things. The duplicate tabs is something that I don't really like about Zen. That is definitely something that should be available. And you know what, actually, I duplicate tabs a lot. So this is kind of essential for me. I'm just going to move Zen from here. I'm just going to put it there. Brave does have all the features that I need. The only problem that I have is that small cosmetic issue that I mentioned that shows the sidebar when I'm in my terminal. And I just don't like that. Other than that, Brave does have all the features. So I think this is the list that I'm going to end up with. Yeah, I think this is the one. Let me see if I'm missing something here. Oh, and there's an issue with Yoink and Zen. Let me show you what I mean by this. I'm just going to go to Zen here. And let's say that I want to drag one of these images. Notice that I'm just going to start dragging this image from here. Notice that Yoink shows up. And I'm just going to release this. And you're going to notice that I have to wait a few seconds for it to show up. Notice that it's been like, I don't know what, 5 seconds maybe. And it's really annoying. I already sent an email to the Yoink team. They're going to be looking into it. I'm not sure if it's the browser or if it's Yoink or what's happening, but I'll keep you posted. Just so you can confirm that this works fine in other browsers, let's switch to Brave, for example. And let me grab one of these images here, this one. Just gonna drag it. Notice how long it's gonna take for it to show up there. It did it immediately. So I think it's an issue with Yoink, could be Zen, who knows? Well, just mark that as done. Why PWAs, I also covered that. No extensions, native features, I also marked that as done in the video. So I did cover everything. I also want to thank the supporters because I always forget to do this. Here I have them listed. Let me just expand this again. So I just want to say thanks to each one of you. And I really appreciate also the Ko-fi one-time donations, which are listed here. If you have recommendations for other browsers, just please leave them down below. I did hear that Vivaldi is a good browser, but I just don't feel like installing Vivaldi, to be honest. But if you think it's a good option, let me know down below. If you know about any other browser that covers all my requirements, please let me know in the comments as well. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, make sure to subscribe as well to see more content like this. Hope the video was useful, and I'll see you in the next one.